And welcome to Visceral Reactions. Oh, shit. Hold on.
What?
The music.
Oh, right.
And welcome back to Visceral Reactions, your regular stop for irregular amounts of horror. I'm Matthew.
I'm Quinton. Welcome to week 3 of Spooky Month.
On today's episode, we're giving you a little bit more normal Halloween fare with 2010's The Wolfman. Not The Wolfman I'm sure anyone wants us to talk about, but it's what we're doing.
In regular visceral reactions fashion.
Exactly. Yeah, it would be off-brand to go with the obvious.
Right.
So, yeah, it's 2010, directed by Joe Johnston, whom you absolutely know, even if you don't know his name. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yep.
First Captain America movie.
Yep.
Jumanji.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the third Jurassic Park movie.
I like Jurassic Park 3. Fuck you. I like it a lot.
It just...
It's got Sam Neill in it. It's got the Spinosaurus.
Yeah, there's too much family drama in there.
It's got the kid. Was he in Zathura, that kid? I don't remember.
I don't know.
He was in something else.
What else am I in?
Oh, he was in The Patriot.
Oh, yeah. And what else did he...
I think that's like the main bits.
I feel like there's a big one.
I know. I can't remember it. Jumanji's pretty big.
Yeah.
Captain America's pretty big.
Well, Joe Johnston did not start out as a director. He started out doing visual effects, where he won an Oscar for doing the work on Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And this one. And Wolfman.
He did the Wolfman. Well,
it won
but
Best
not
Makeup.
Yeah, but not him.
Oh.
Yeah, the movie.
Right.
Yeah. He worked on, I want to say, Empire and Return of the
hell
Jedi.
yeah.
So, very long history.
But ILM, yep.
And that actually comes into play when the movie turns into a shit show behind the scenes.
Yeah. Because he wasn't the first choice for director, I don't think.
No. He came on board. Joe Johnston came on board 3 weeks before they were set to begin. I mean, if you thought the problems that we talked about with Van Helsing were bad, this is a lot worse. In the same way that the Mummy's poor success in 2017 ended
The Dark Universe?
the Dark Universe.
Before it even... Dracula Untold came before that.
Yeah. This ended a lot of talks about a lot of remakes.
Yes.
Because they lost, Universal lost money on this.
Yeah, they poured a huge amount of money into this. As they always do for like their Universal monster revamps. Van Helsing had a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
This had a $150 million budget.
Because they keep trying to catch the high of the Mummy.
Right.
In the 90s Mummy. With the exception of the Mummy Returns, they have not been able to. This had, tons of money being poured into it. Replacing the director. Replacing the score. Danny Elfman's score was originally there, and then realized they wanted to go in a completely different direction.
They hired a guy who gave it an electronic score.
And then they got rid of that.
Which was like the best decision they could have made.
Yeah, and they were like, actually, let's just keep Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
During a post-production, apparently, after the movie was pretty much edited, they got in another editor, Walter Murch, who one of the greatest editors of all time and who has worked on plenty of Lucas Spielberg projects over the decades. He re-edited the movie. So,
and he's supposed to be a great editor? Because the editing in this movie is weird and awkward.
I don't know. It just seems like they Frankensteined this.
It's not like the whole movie's awkwardly edited. They're just a bunch of little scenes that are like go too quick or cut quick, or like when they cut, an actor's cut in like a weird position where it's like almost like a weird jump cut. It's little bits and pieces that just take me out of it for a second because I'm like, why did they do it like that? Or just give it like one more second or other weird things.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what to tell you. But I don't think anyone else really knew what was going on. And unfortunately, at times it shows that there was going to be one version of this movie that should have come out, and then another version completely different that was then the new game plan. But there was some weird bastardization of the two.
Now, was that studio meddling?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Well, it's not even like meddling. It's more of like there were so many people involved
right.
in making all of these conflicting decisions. Because apparently the original director, who is, I want to say, credited with the story.
Yes.
He didn't want to do any CGI. He wanted everything
practical.
Yeah. My understanding, or what I can imagine, is that he wanted this to be his Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Uh-huh.
And for the most part, it kind of is.
Yeah, it's very atmospheric.
Yeah.
There's a lot of atmosphere in the film.
And Danny Elfman is absolutely ripping off Wojciech Kieller's score from Dracula at times, or at least like paying heavy homage to it. It's an interesting movie. Plot-wise, it's the Wolfman.
Do you know who wrote this movie? It's the screenwriter who did 8mm, 7, and God, what was the third one? There was a third big one he did. Oh, Sleepy Hollow.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Because I feel like the script's solid enough. There's like a bit of weird exposition dumps, and the movie's kind of paced weirdly. And that may have to do with the editing, but the script's not too bad.
It's straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same story that we get in the 1941 Wolfman, except takes place in 1890s London. Like
England area and London.
Yeah. So going from more of the Dracula route, which I'm assuming is a way to kind of legitimize it, to give it more of an old world, authentic feel. And that is not a decision that I'm mad about. Like, the movie, for the most part, is beautiful.
Yes. Weird green screen scenes aside, especially in London, it's a very pretty film.
Yeah.
Visually.
Whatever, like, fields and large manors that they filmed at, like, they're gorgeous.
Yep.
The Talbot Manor,
old,
fantastic.
crusty, and pretty.
Yeah. This has so much going for it.
It does. It really does.
I mean, the cast of Benicio del Toro as Lawrence Talbot.
Great choice visually.
Yeah.
Because there are scenes where, like, wow, he looks a lot like Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah, I thought the same. Maybe the best casting, though, is Anthony Hopkins as Sir John Talbot.
He never does anything wrong.
No, but like this, like the same kind of intensity that he brought to Van Helsing in Dracula.
Yeah.
He kind of tones it down, but it's more menacing.
Yeah, because there are moments where like he feels a bit stiff and wooden, but I think that's just his character because, like he said, he's cold and dead.
And he also has to keep...
Yeah, the beast.
He's got to keep the beast
spoilers.
inside.
Well, there's no spoilers when it comes to this podcast.
No. Anthony Hopkins is also a werewolf.
Yeah. Fuck you.
And
we've got two others.
Yeah, Emily Blunt is the
former fiance of
now widowed fiance
of Lawrence Talbot's brother Ben,
who dies in the opening of the film. And then someone I had no clue was in the movie.
I had forgotten he was in the movie.
Is Hugo Weaving as a constable from Scotland Yard,
who did the Jack the Ripper case.
Yeah, that was a really good conversation. That was a great scene between the two of them. And let's see.
All actors that I love dearly.
Yeah, no, like really like fantastic. I mean, you have Hugo Weaving in a role that's like not as dickish as Agent Smith,
but still in that same vein.
Yeah, kind of like as soon as he shows up on screen, you're like, oh wow, the protagonist better fucking run. Anthony Hopkins, I mean, just adds gravitas to everything that he does.
It is Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. A very young Emily Blunt, and it's really fun to watch her and Benicio del Toro together because 5 years after this, they would do Sicario, and they are fantastic together. And it's just really nice to see her playing a much more emotionally vulnerable character here because her character in Sicario is not. And Benicio del Toro.
I'm going to say it. His performance is weird.
Yes, it is.
It's weirdly wooden.
It is. But it's not bad.
I'm not upset about it.
I don't get it.
His delivery's weird. Like the looks he gives, like that weird like upper look he does a lot in the film. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's great.
Like a dog.
Yeah, I love those looks. He has great facial performances.
I almost wish his role was silent because I really think when he opens his mouth, it's a little stilted.
It's like it's the Hayden Christensen effect in the prequel trilogies because Hayden does great facial emotions.
Yeah.
Fantastic facial emotions.
Well, so Benicio del Toro, first of all, an extremely modern look to him. Like he doesn't have necessarily a timeless appearance.
It's kind of like Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, where it's like, okay,
kind
the
of cool,
performance
kind of sexy.
Yeah, like the performance is good, but like you don't belong in this time.
Yeah.
I think also the fact that he is not only playing an American or playing a Brit who
moved to America.
Yeah. And has spent a long time there.
Yeah.
But he's playing someone who is doing Shakespeare in America. And there are times where I kind of caught the rhythm of his language to be in this almost iambic pentameter.
Okay.
Like there were times where it seemed like he was reading Shakespeare
right
as he was speaking, and I was like, wait, is this guy so much of a hardo that like, because they mentioned that he's played Macbeth,
Richard
Hamlet, Richard III,
yeah,
you know, and I'm sure numerous other Shakespearean leading men.
Yep.
So maybe it's to the point where like he just kind of like embodies that.
Maybe he's one of the first method actors.
It could be. The other thing I think is that I love Benicio del Toro.
I do too.
I don't think he's a leading man.
No, he's good at supporting characters.
Yeah, because he is such a stoic presence.
He does.
That
even when he's playing like kind of wacky characters, like in The Collector in the MCU, or even his role in Last Jedi,
you want him part of the gang.
Yeah, but you don't want him. Yeah.
And
which is crazy because he has that leading man presence.
He does,
but he doesn't belong in the leading man role.
Yes, and I don't understand it. The reason why I was looking up. So, all right. So before doing this, I was looking up actors who were born in 1975 because at the time of the movie's release, Emily Blunt was 27 and Benicio del Toro was 40.
I thought it was like 35.
And because he's in his 50s now.
Okay.
So he was like 43. So there's like a 15-year difference.
75, right?
Yeah.
This came out in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have a odd number in his age.
No, he wasn't born in 75.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know why you were looking up. Okay.
No, I was looking up 75 because I was trying to
similar
see
age range.
What actor would have been like 30 something, like early 30s.
Okay, now it makes sense.
To be older than Emily Blunt, but
not
like
too old.
Yeah. And I read off a decent number of names, but the one name that I didn't read to you because I wanted to leave it as a surprise because I would have fucking killed for this was Bradley Cooper.
Ooh, interesting.
I would have, first of all, the idea of him going toe-to-toe with Anthony Hopkins, I would love that.
Because you had on that list was Hugh Dancy. And I would have loved Hugh Dancy.
That would have been a very...
But maybe it's because I have Will Graham in my mind all the time when I think of Hugh Dancy.
Now, I would much prefer to see Hugh Dancy as Dr. Jekyll. I think he would make a great Dr. Jekyll.
That'd be amazing.
Because he has that rage inside of him.
Yes.
And his like small stature, I think would be great for him to just Hulk out. And you're like, oh my God, this guy is, yeah. So if we're ever going back into Dark Universe territory, Hugh Dancy should absolutely be Mr. Hyde.
Not Russell Crowe.
Yeah. Well, Russell Crowe could be someone else.
Okay.
Russell Crowe could be Van Helsing.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. Honestly, while watching Anthony Hopkins in this, there were times where he seemed like the direction that Russell Crowe is going in, like aging wise. Like there was something about his presence that was such a force. And like he would just like look a certain way. And I guess like just thinking about how he just appeared in Thor.
With the beard?
Yeah. And it's like, what if you turned all of that gray or white? That's going to be Russell Crowe in like 20 years.
Cool. I'm on board. I like Russell Crowe.
Yeah. Bradley Cooper would be dream casting. Everyone else can stay the same. That way, we would have a much more emotionally accessible Lawrence Talbot because...
He's a bit reserved, much like Anthony Hopkins' character.
Yes, and I think he needs to be a little bit more, especially since he's still holding on to the death of his mother.
Yep.
The fact that he spent a year in a mental institution as a child, and that he is also now dealing with the death of a brother that he didn't really know.
Yeah.
Like all of those things together would be a person that should be, I think, much more akin to what Lon Chaney Jr. does as the original Wolfman. Like there's just something, there's a certain pathos about Lon Chaney's performance in that.
It's very sensitive and sympathetic.
Yeah. And not just because of his facial mannerisms, but the way that he carries himself, the way that he speaks. Like, you look at him and you think this is the last person capable of disemboweling dozens of people every month. But Benicio del Toro, not so much, because maybe it's, unfortunately, almost everything I've seen him in, for the most part, he is absolutely fucking ruthless. I mean, everything from his Oscar-winning role in Traffic to playing the character that he does in both of the Sicario movies. I mean, he's literally the assassin in the title. Like, his heartbeat doesn't move when he takes a life. That's not the kind of person, I think, who should be Lawrence. But that's not so much like Benicio's fault, because it's just, the kind of characters, the roles that he gets, because he's so good at playing them that naturally they're going to keep throwing the roles at him.
And he really wanted this role because he was a huge Wolfman fan. I mean, I think he owned either memorabilia or like actual props and stuff from like the original film. He was a huge fan. Because I think he produced this film too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Again, like, it's not a bad performance.
No, it's just weird, kind of stiff.
There are scenes in this where he could have been a little bit more open.
Yeah.
And he wasn't.
Even when he's like angry.
Yeah.
It's like weirdly muted. That may be more of the director. But the director's done like good stuff. Maybe more fun stuff, but like good acting from people stuff.
Oh, The Rocketeer was the other big one that I was trying to...
Okay.
Yeah. I really would have liked to see more of that sensitive side.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as what we do get, he is able to convey the conflict of the prodigal son, which is something that I really enjoy. That is kind of like almost a motif. Like, I don't know if 2 times can count as a motif, but Anthony Hopkins calls Lawrence the prodigal son twice, once in the beginning, once in the end. And there is that sense of Talbot returning after having squandered something away. And that's something being, I don't know, the name.
Right.
He gets punished for it.
Not by just with his father, but kind of the town.
Yeah.
Because the town's like really quick to be like, he's a fucking werewolf after he got bit. And that's what my issue is, like the pacing. Sometimes it goes a bit too fast because you have not really the opening, but like the first 30 minutes, I would say wonderfully paced enough. I mean, the scene where the werewolf's like attacking the gypsy village is kind of awkward and goes a bit quick and just kind of comes out of nowhere. But his like slowly like gaining his wolf powers is kind of quick. Like we see him having acute hearing, kind of sensing blood with Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
And like healing quick. And that's it. And the moment like he's like, oh, can you hear that? The townspeople are like, we want your son. He's a fucking werewolf. Like, where did this come from? Everyone slow down for a minute.
The way that townspeople run up on the manor multiple times throughout the movie, it's incredible. Like how they just show up in a whole like just pack of boys.
How do you know?
Yeah.
He has anything because he was there?
Yeah.
Because you know he got bit? Wow, word travels fast. I thought you guys didn't like the gypsies. How would you hear anything? You guys were at the gypsy camp to arrest the dancing bear. Which was fun, pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, good detective work, guys. It's the bear all along.
That poor guy was trying to defend the bear. And they're like, he couldn't have done this.
The poor CGI bear.
Yeah.
The CGI is not terrible in this film.
There are moments when it is bad,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be or what I have heard it described as. It's definitely better than Van Helsing. That's for certain in terms of...
I think the werewolf transformation is better in Van Helsing. I know they're going for an American werewolf in London or Paris type situation. The practical, like really painful special effects, because like it looks painful turning into a werewolf in this film.
Yeah, I like the design more here.
It's 100%. I like that they go practical with the full thing, and I like it's just not like a big werewolf, but kind of like a wolf man. And they very much take 100% inspiration from the original design. Of the 1941 film.
And they just make him a little darker.
Yeah, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
I like that he still has tattered clothes and stuff. Good job. I like that.
Yeah. The design is also very... All right, so this is in a weird middle period. So X-Men Last Stand...
Oh, Beast?
Comes out in 2007, and Beast has that look, right? This comes out in 2010. Not entirely similar. Like there are a lot of differences.
It looks a lot like the original Wolfman, but just a bit more shaggier and hairier.
Which is what Beast in X-Men First Class looks like the year after.
Oh, I thought
the
you were...
Wolfman. No, that's where like in between two Beasts is one Wolfman, and
which is Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even the way that the Wolfman runs, is the way that Beast runs in the X-Men movies.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I'm sure there are other types of characters that, kind of like four-legged gallop like that. Yeah. But in terms of large, intimidating, mobile creatures, that's basically. But back to the design, the face is the best.
Face is really good. I genuinely love, because I keep saying it looks so much like the original.
Yeah, because he does look more like an actual dog. Like he's got like the cute little nose.
He does. He's got a little cute nose.
Like his teeth, like everything. Like it looks. I think it looks better than like Van Helsing, because that was just a really big.
Just a massive wolf creature.
Which, the same thing in Twilight. Like, it's just...
Well, those are just really just big wolves.
Yeah. So, like, on the spectrum, we've got really big wolf in Twilight. Then we've got the large wolfish man in Van Helsing. And then we've got large mannish wolf in the Wolfman.
But in between that, you also got the werewolves in Underworld.
Yes. Yep. And they're like...
In between.
Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of design, like it's good that there are differences.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Then you got like Prisoner of Azkaban, which is like a skinny, wispy type Wolfman.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Much like a Wendigo. We used to watch that. It's good. It's like a good, one of those not scary films. It's just a damn good film. It's the most creative looking and artistic out of all of them.
Gotcha. Well, it had to have one.
Yeah,
That's it.
it does. I said Prisoner of Azkaban, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I thought I said something else for a second.
Okay, the transformation. What do you think about the way that he moves as a wolf?
When he does on all four?
Yeah, or even just like his ability to like jump around and climbing on the walls and shit. Like
that's fine.
Yeah.
I kind of like it doing on like bipedal because it looks a bit goofy, and I just think it's fun.
Oh, absolutely. Like I wish he would have spent more time.
I do too, honestly.
On his hind legs because I don't know, he just looked awkwardly bulky.
He's got big fuzzy arms.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
yeah,
I love it.
He's got a large jacket on. The story is very straightforward.
Yep.
Of he's a wolf, finds out, other people find out that he's a wolf. They try to.
Yep. And a really cool, kind of a cool scene.
With the torture?
Yep.
Yeah.
And like the dream school.
That dream sequence was fantastic.
That's really cool. More weird Benicio performance.
Yeah.
But I like the dream sequences.
Yeah, and then he gets rolled into
like one of those old medical theaters with a bunch of like men examining like,
and they're like, all right, we are
going to show you that you are not a wolfman.
Yeah. And he tells them like, I'm gonna kill all of you. And they're like,
and another weird, awkward
yeah.
Benicio performance.
And he does kill them.
This is a gory ass film.
I'm really glad it's rated R because there are a lot of heads taken off. There are a lot of arms.
A lot of
disembowelment.
Claws to the face.
Throats ripped open.
Yep.
Backs scratched off.
The scene where the guy in the gypsy camp falls and you see his spine.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, we see so many arms ripped off.
A lot of guts.
A lot of guts.
Fingers bitten off.
Mm-hmm. I would have liked for a little bit more of that to be not CGI, but...
The blood.
Yeah.
It's the blood. It was starting that era where they were doing the CGI blood.
Yeah. So it's like...
But the guts and stuff are all...
Yeah. Well, especially when it's like on the ground. Yeah. Now, what I seem to have gathered from the internets is that the biggest problem with the movie is the end. And I have to agree.
In what capacity?
The fight scene.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of weird.
So any listeners might recall our Van Helsing episode. One of the biggest complaints, at least on my end, did you not like the Dracula turning into a giant monster and then Van Helsing turning into a werewolf and like...
We had that argument about the moon, and I'm like...
Oh, yeah.
The moon's full even in the daytime, so why does it fucking matter?
That's right. Yeah, because they kept like going in and out. That was my big issue.
I think that's fun.
Well, this time, father versus son, werewolf. I
don't know if Anthony Hopkins was actually in that suit.
There's no way it could have been.
It looks a lot like Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
The face, kind of, as a wolf.
Yeah.
It would be cool if it was. But.
Yeah. I'm sure he maybe would have liked to have been, like 20 years ago.
I mean, he was doing like some stuff with the cane.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
a little bit of whapa and things. He still got, even at that age, he had some wha.
Yeah. But that fight scene, because of course, as soon as it happens, as soon as it starts, someone knocks over an oil lamp and the manor starts to burn. You got these two werewolves fighting.
Bapping, this body slamming.
Yeah.
A lot of body slamming.
And
it's fine.
But after such an atmospheric and moody...
It's a very gothic looking film.
So many Victorian details done right.
Oh, I know.
And to end it with a giant werewolf fight in a burning mansion.
That's just the name of the game, baby.
I don't know.
How would it end better? I mean, obviously it could, but like...
I would cut out the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Have him being chased from like the woods or whatever back to the mansion where he confronts What was Emily Blunt's character's name?
Oh God, I don't remember. You know, I'm bad at names. Emily Blunt.
Yeah, Emily Blunt. And yeah, she still shoots him.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
That like,
because like Wolfman's a tragedy.
But how she shoots him, this I think would be even better and much more tragic. He gets back to the mansion
As a wolf?
as a man.
Okay.
Like he's transforming back.
Oh.
And so by the time he sees Emily Blunt, like he has just finished turning back into a man.
Uh-huh.
And he tells her that she has to do it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to, but she has to. And that way shooting him as Lawrence is a lot more tragic than shooting him as a wolf. Especially a wolf that's like literally on top of her,
but
attacking her.
Was starting to like snap out of it. He was starting to recognize her.
Yeah, but then when he heard all the...
Oh yeah, it's like...
all the guys, he, you know, back. I don't know. I think the fight, it didn't add it.
It's the tension between the dad and son.
Yeah.
'Cause for some reason he became evil.
Yeah,
I don't let his son get locked up. Didn't do anything.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I don't like that. I don't know. I think distancing himself from his son now that he is afflicted with the same disease doesn't seem very much in character.
You think you tried to help him?
If anything, just not hurting him.
Well, I think it's implying that because he's been like a werewolf for so long and has been suppressing it that he kind of went crazy. And now he's unleashing the beast, as he said, and he's like just fully crazy. Like a bloodlust after... because he was upset that Ben was going away. He would be all alone. Mm-hmm. He said he got drunk and got let loose and killed him. And I guess there's like a bloodlust thing. Like, I'm going to let the beast out.
Well, if anything, all right, we're going to rewrite that a little bit.
Okay.
So Lawrence, as Wolf, comes back to the manor, kills his father, not as a wolf, not like Sir John is not a wolf. He's just talking to Lawrence. Like he's talking to the Wolfman, like trying to talk to him. But he's a wolf, so he's not going to listen. And he's just like, you know, and then he's just bleeding out.
Yeah,
so,
but the father would be a wolfman too if he turns into a wolfman at that point.
It seems like he has more control, though. I mean, does he turn every time that there's a moon in this?
Yeah, because he locked himself up in the crypt.
Okay. Then yeah.
Oh, I know why he kept Lawrence in the asylum, so he could take the fall for the murders. Okay, that just popped in my head. That's why he locked himself in the crypt that one time to be like, I got a scapegoat. Sorry, son. But I think it would be cool to have them like Anthony Hopkins still has the upper hand because he's been doing it for so long. He like has kind of super strength as human, as he shows when they're fighting as humans, and Lawrence has to kind of smart his way out of this fight that he can't beat and be like super sneaky and kill him with silver in some way.
I guess for me, the most tragic thing that can happen is that whenever someone takes the life of someone important to them, they do it as a person, not chalking it up to...
You kind of had to, or like you were going to get killed, even though it's still sad.
Yeah. You know, not like you were out of your mind as a werewolf person. You didn't know really what you were doing. You were just like killing people.
And that itself can be like tragic, how it kind of was in Van Helsing.
Yeah.
It's even more tragic because it's a Wolfman story. Wolfman's got to die.
Yeah,
because that's even tragic because he's been burdened with this curse that he can't control, and it ends up with his life. It's a tragedy. It's always been a tragedy. It always will be. That's why I like the first Wolfman so much.
I guess really a solution to that problem, not trying to rewrite the entire movie, even though that's what it seems Universal was trying to do, is you don't make Anthony Hopkins a werewolf.
Yeah, it is weird that they have him as a werewolf.
Like
that feels like a cliche.
You don't need to...
It's Wolfman.
They heard me.
Oh, okay. Anthony Hopkins is going to get you.
Oh, God. Like, you don't need two werewolves in the movie other than the one that bites him that gets away, the one that he becomes.
Yeah.
But, like, to have his father as a werewolf and it's, like, not genetic.
Because it just makes the film a bit clunky.
It does.
Because the film is, like, it is a bit weird and clunky.
I think John would be a much more interesting character and a much bigger threat if he had that same presence, knowing that he didn't have the ability to transform into anything. Like, that's just him.
Yeah, the hunter.
Yeah. And that his wife dying was still his fault. Like, his curse, or what he is damned with, I should say, is the fact that he killed his wife.
Because maybe the wife was a werewolf?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, make up a reason.
Okay.
Like, even if there's no reason, you know, like, you just, I don't know. Anyway, that would, I think that
it would create like a reason for him to like go after his son. The trauma of like a beast.
Yeah, no, that would be good if like she passed on something to him. It's like, we need to get you out of here because you're going to turn into a little wolf boy. We don't want that.
Which was, I thought they were implying with the dream when they had that little wolf kid, but it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
it is the wolf kid turned his dad. I don't know why he would get that memories of a genetic thing like Assassin's Creed. It just passes on.
I guess. I'll say like 85% of this movie achieves the type of serious, genuine adult telling of this story in the way that Bram Stoker's does.
Maybe it's less for me just because I think the editing and the writing's a bit weird and the performance, especially with Benicio del Toro, is off. Because I understand it not making its money back. It's a movie that I shouldn't think is very good, but I can't not hate it because it's Wolfman and I love the Wolfman. It does have a lot of, I think, issues, but I still enjoy it. I still think it's the good outweighs the bad, even though there's a lot of bad in it. And that's mainly from like techno stuff, writing, which can in a lot of ways make and break a film. Because there's a lot of films that could be really good if it had better editing and better writing. And this one could. I still really like it because I like all the actors. They do a great job. Even if Benicio del Toro's weird in it, I still like it. I like him turning a wolfman and killing people. It does a lot of things different enough than the original, which I will say it makes it a good remake. Because that's the argument we've always had doing remakes is, if you change it up enough, I'll like it.
After the failure of Van Helsing and the failure of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Guilty pleasure for me. I know I said that a lot.
Well, just like box office wise.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Sean Connery's career too.
The tone of the movie is obviously, at least obvious to me, like trying to not replicate what those two looked and felt like.
Yeah, because they felt and looked that early 2000s fantasy action film with like fictional characters.
Yeah. And that's why I think the ending really doesn't work for me, because that ending feels like something that would be in those two movies. And, like I like that for the most part, the Wolfman is in shadows, that he's running around in like
forests,
the woods. Yeah. You don't see him. I mean, even the first time that you see him transform
is in the dark.
Yeah. And like, you only see like bits and flashes of him.
Yep.
There was one really cool shot of someone's rifle going off, and his face is illuminated by the
that's so good
by the gunshot, and like you look at it, and like in that moment, it looks like Lon Chaney.
It does. Makeup so good, and that's why it won the Academy Award.
Yeah, I wish that it would have had even less of that type going for it, and maybe
the more kind of generic of the time action.
Yeah,
kind of its own moody gothic thing.
And more of, did you ever see Wolf with Jack Nicholson?
No.
And Michelle Pfeiffer and James Spader?
Ooh, James Spader's in it?
Yeah.
I love James Spader.
Yeah, he plays a complete asshole.
Like 80s and 90s, James Spader was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Even in Stargate.
Yes. So 1994, Wolf, Mike Nichols made it. Jack Nicholson turns into a werewolf.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And it takes place in New York City.
Oh, cool.
So he makes a perfect werewolf. Like, that's a given. But
he's got the eyebrows. And
he's already animalistic.
Yeah, he is.
Which is why on our Shining episode, I said that in a dream world of mine, he played Wolverine some time ago.
I'd be on board.
Yeah, but I'm bringing Wolf up now because that was a straight drama. Like, was like, this was no like action,
no guts type and of gore and things.
I mean, it had, it had some of that, but like not. It was
more of a character piece dealing with like the curse,
absolutely,
and how it affected everyone.
Yes,
okay,
and it was just like probably the best that anyone could do at how do you make a regular, straightforward drama in which the main character is a werewolf, not be horror, actiony. I mean, it's like, a little horror, but like that's not the tone per se. But definitely not like fantasy. There's no like magic. Like it's just average. Like not the movie is average, but like, it's a normal depiction. And for the most part, this had that, like just in a period setting, but this had the feeling of, oh, werewolves are just fucking existing in this world.
Is there more than one? Or is it just him?
It starts out as just him.
Okay.
And then
other people become werewolves?
Yeah, one other. James Spader becomes a werewolf.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah. But I mean, like in the world of the Wolfman, like it felt so normal at times. I don't know. I guess if it were allowed to really fully devote itself to that, I think this could have been like a perfect mingling of that sort of dramatic approach of Wolf and, the classic horror of the Wolfman. It's far from being a failed film for me.
Yeah, me too.
It's one where like...
kind of disappointing because it could have been so much more.
And it's... like, as soon as it ended, I was just thinking, like, they really, like, they just missed it.
Now, I don't know, because there's a director's cut.
Ooh.
Funnily enough, I think, because this is my second time watching this film, technically it's my first time watching this version, because I think the first time I watched this movie, it was the director's cut at, like, 10, 11, 12.
Really?
Yeah, because my family from Alabama rented it on Redbox, and we all... sat down and watched it because there's a particular scene. There's 17 more minutes in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a crucial. The thing I remember the most about it, and I was like, "Wait, where's that scene?" And I don't know how much it plays more into it. But there's like the cane that Hugo Weaving has with the knife in it. Mm-hmm. Also, like, how do you feel about him becoming a werewolf? I feel like it's not necessary. It's not needed. I don't know if they were sequel baiting or it's just like the curse continues type thing.
Yeah, that's how I kind of.
Okay. Well, early in the film, Lawrence Talbot character was given that cane to a character who was cut completely, and the character is played by Max von Sydow.
Really?
Yep.
Those sons of bitches cut out?
Yep. Completely.
Fucking Max von Sydow?
Yep. And I remember that.
That's like, very upsetting.
Where's the old man? Because I know the cane played a bigger part in it, and it even had like Anthony Hopkins using the cane. I'm like, I remember there being... where's the old man with the cane? And I was like, on Wikipedia, and it talked about the director's cut. I'm like, all right, there it is. So maybe the director cut's better. Usually director cuts are always better. And like 17 minutes is a long time.
Yeah.
Because 17 minutes, that's a lot of scenes to maybe flesh it out. Because without credits, the film's like an hour and 35. Maybe could have used more time to flesh some of these ideas. Mm-hmm. Maybe make it a bit better. I need to recheck it out. Because at 10, 11, 12 years old, I don't remember that much about it, only bits and pieces. So I'm wondering how better it may be in comparison to what we got, which isn't bad, but could have been a whole lot better.
Yeah, like this could have been one of the great monster movies. It was almost there.
And I think it kind of, for a while, killed Universal's desire for remakes. After Van Helsing didn't make much money after pouring in a lot of money, and they poured in a lot of money, and this is like, let the Wolfman die. But then they're like, MCU's doing well. Let's do that. We kind of started it 80 years ago. Mm-hmm. Oh, they don't.
The original cinematic universe. Yeah, I don't know what their... I mean, I know what their problem is. Like, they keep thinking that bigger
is better.
More expensive, more CGI, like more epic, more intense, that is what will make them money. And And it's like, you fools. Like,
it can work for me in Van Helsing because you have all the monsters, and that's just fun popcorn action. But for this, Wolfman's a more down-to-earth and character piece. Much like Frankenstein, you can't really have an action-y Frankenstein film.
Well, I was going to say, like, all of those original movies are character pieces.
Yep, there's some action with like, and Wolfman scratching people and them dying, but it's all like about the struggle of these monsters who don't want this life. Maybe Dracula does. He's different.
Mm-hmm.
But like Frankenstein, Wolfman, they didn't choose this. It was thrust upon them without their consent and without them knowing. So you feel that tragedy, especially in Bride and Frankenstein, and especially in the original Wolfman.
I guess that's something that's missing here, is
the struggle.
Yeah, of like not wanting to be this.
Yeah, the pain and the anguish and the terror of like, I am a monster. And he says he's a monster, and like, yeah, we've seen you like tear up people, which is terrible, but we haven't seen your inner conflict and struggle of like, I am a danger to everyone around me when the moon is full.
I'm just thinking about it now. I don't believe he ever tries to find a cure, does he?
No. He's just like, I'm going to fucking kill my dad. That'll solve all my revenge.
Like, at least in the original, he tries to find.
Yeah, it goes to the gypsies.
Yeah.
And I think, it's been a while since I've seen the original Wolfman. I don't remember if they're like, I don't think they said there was a cure.
Probably just that you can kill it with silver.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's no attempt to, like, change anything, which is in and of itself interesting, but...
Yeah, I guess, like, what was your plan? To just, like, hold up in the mountain and, you know, just try to live a normal life as you can? Or maybe, like, you go back to America, it's like, my troop, I have a new idea for a play.
Werewolf Hamlet.
I mean... It sells itself.
To transform or not to transform.
That is the blah. You got to time the change going on to me perfectly. It'll be like King Kong. What's King Kong? You'll find out in like 40 years.
Yeah.
What the Wolfman do this time?
Uh-oh.
I don't even know that's picking up.
I don't think it is.
There's sirens. And there was like a dog barking before. Just to clarify.
Yeah. We're not going crazy.
No.
Or maybe we are.
Maybe we are. It is the hallowed month.
What are we doing next week?
We're wrapping up Spooky Month with... People are probably going to be let down. They've probably been let down this whole month.
Yeah.
Be like, where's the classics? Like,
yeah,
it's us. What are you expecting?
What, like, you guys didn't do Halloween.
When we do the classics, it's always like, the list deems it necessary.
And the list is not deemed anything necessary for this month.
And Sinister weren't on the list, but we didn't have any werewolf movies or Blumhouse movies. And we could have done Paranormal Activity last week, but we did Sinister instead. Next week is French film, Baby Blood.
Baby Blood.
A 90s film. So
we're early 90s.
Leaving out it. We're probably for a while going to try to stay out of contemporary because I know we've been doing that to death, and we're getting back to the classic 80s schlock that you all know and love, or 70s schlock that you all know and love.
Or 90s.
Or 90s schlock that you all know and love.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of things that you would think are garbage, but
maybe not. Maybe
we're going to show you
turn out to be
that they aren't.
Fucking amazing. Yep. That's usually on par sometimes for this, and sometimes it's just like absolute drudgery.
We are like the prospectors of yore, going out into the California gold mines.
Sometimes we get dirt, but sometimes we find the gold in the river.
And I tell you, Sonny, finding that gold is about the best darn thing that's ever happened to me.
I gotta find you, Mr. Pocket. That's from Ballad of Buster Scruggs, if anyone hasn't or has seen it.
Oh, the more people that listen to this episode.
Yes, we may be able to give you a little treat.
So
we're almost at 2,000 downloads.
And if we get to 2,000 before Halloween, we're going to record a special episode
for Halloween
on the Devil's Rejects. That is not in place of the Baby Blood episode.
No,
but in addition to.
Yeah, because we've decided for now the specials.
Every 1,000.
Yes, we're gonna do all of Rob Zombie's films, just because we were originally going to do like numbers, but
it's not going to work.
It teeters off because like if
there's no 3,000 something.
No, if we like reach 20,000, we may do 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That's not horror, but whatever. But I rest my case. That kind of fell through quick, but like Rob Zombie has some interesting films, and I've kind of appreciated and come to love Rob Zombie, even though there were some aspects of 1,000 Corpses that I didn't like. I still kind of enjoyed myself. I like Sid Haig now. He's great.
And so the next 1,000, if it's not next week, it'll be the week after.
Yeah. Because we're almost there. Because you guys are just been loving our podcast.
And it's much appreciated.
Yes.
So Devil's Rejects will be the next one.
We're going to be doing it in chronological order.
Yep. So the more you listen, the quicker we get to the monsters.
Yes. So I can finally sit down and stop being one of those weird poser haters about it.
Because the monsters is fucking great.
And I fucking love the TV show so much.
Oh, this is a love letter to it.
And I understand what the TV show is. And yes, I know I saw the crappy trailer and it didn't give me hopes.
Oh, the trailer doesn't do it justice.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Like it is a wonderful movie.
Okay.
The place in my heart for the monsters is the same place that's occupied by Hotel Transylvania that I cannot stop thinking about.
I have to watch those. Those are probably good.
Yes. Or at least the first one. I haven't, So I think that about covers it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us again. Thank you for listening, commenting,
liking,
being active, telling us stuff. I hope you enjoy the really shitty Canva art that I do every day.
I love the Canva art.
If you want more sharks in them, let me know because I will put more sharks in them. I'm begging to do more sharks.
Sharks are cool.
Yeah.
Go watch Wolfman. Tell us what you think if you've seen it already. If you haven't, I think it's worth watching.
It's on Peacock.
Yep. I got a Peacock account just for it and to, I don't know, watch other things. That Barney documentary.
And if you also have Peacock or just actually, no, forget that. Just go to theaters and watch Halloween Ends because it is the best Halloween sequel. So I will defend that to my death, which hopefully is not soon.
And I'll watch it at some point. The whole trilogy.
All of it. So thank you once again. I'm Matthew.
We're werewolves, not swearwolves.
What's that from?
That's from What We Do in the Shadows.
See, I didn't know that.
It's on the list. We will get to it.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's a wrap.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.